It's my pleasure to get to introduce MAC for Lake County to you. Now, we know that the place that we call home of Lake County is really extraordinary. We have the oldest lake on the continent. We have the largest geothermal field in the world, and we're home to 7 tribal nations, and not to mention our dark night skies that you really can't beat. So at the heart of our county, as we see on the Mac for Lake County map, is Clear Lake. And I think at the heart of our people and really our unifying characteristic is our love for the land. I mean, am I right in that? Don't we all love living here because of the beauty of it? Okay. So good to hear. And Mac for Lake County is about extending that invitation, celebrating Mac's 7th year, and now extending the invitation to the whole county to engage with us as the premier contemporary art resource that we are. So you're here at the starting moment of us launching this Mac for Lake County, and we are so happy and grateful to our speakers that will help speak to the vision of how art can help grow Lake County. So it is a pleasure to introduce our first speaker, and that is our District 1 Supervisor, Moke Simon. He is also the Middletown Rancheria Tribal Chairman, and somehow he finds time to still coach. How he does it, we don't know. So thank you, Moke. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. Sorry about that, blowing it up right off the bat. It's an honor to be here tonight to speak. You know, as this day is winding down, the beauty in Lake County is always just unbelievable. Coming from the stance of the Middletown Rancheria Tribal Pomo Indians, you know, we've been here for over 12,000 years. And sometimes people look at us a little skewed when we say those things. But we were walking this land at prehistoric times. And one of the reasons is because of the lake. The lake has been here for millions of years, and water sustains life. The beauty that is surrounded by all of us in this county is unbelievable. And like I say, it's hard for me sometimes. I need to step in other people's shoes who've come to this county, or say I'm a new transplant or those types of things. But our roots go, which my Aunt Mildred Simon is sitting over there. I hate to call on you when you're eating antimony, but she's one of my elders. I'll always do that forever. And we come from this earth, and they'll put me back in this earth. And I couldn't be any prouder of that. Tonight, when I sit here and stand and talk about the MAC and the MAC for Lake County, I've been instrumental on trying to just build those relationships with this facility. This has been a journey for me on the Board of Supervisors to understand what culture means when you're bringing art into it. And it's something new to me. And I must learn from those things, and surrounded by Lisa, who's always passionate about things, and Amanda and Mac. You know, you're always learning, and you're always knowing that you don't know everything, and you're always open-minded to learn more. So I'm excited to be here tonight to introduce MAC for Lake County. I was on the board and the diocese when the Board of Supervisors said, yes, Lake County is going to support the arts and become an artistic county. And I was happy to be a part of that. And that was a 5-0 vote that happened at the Board of Supervisors. As we move through the process of growing after the 7 years of this origination of this facility, you know, I've seen and I've experienced it firsthand through our relationship with the MAC, where they had some summer classes for art for the children, which is the most important thing. In the tribal culture, it's our elders, and our children are the most important assets that we have. And giving kids opportunities to come out and express themselves is the most important thing. Because as we all do, we need to come out of our shells. I grew up as a young man. It was talked about in sports here in Lake County. It was what I did. But as I grew and matured and was able to travel the world, I understood that there was a whole different part of society that I didn't understand in the art industry and the art and the culture of expressing yourselves. And one thing I pride myself on in Lake County is us here as Lake County residents and people telling our story. Because for too long, folks from the outside have been telling the story of Lake County of, it's a rural community, not very wealthy, those types of things. But what we have here is passion and love, and I've experienced it all. And passion sometimes gets a little excited, over issues, but it's great. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And as we kind of drive to grow this organization and continue with projects that are being envisioned by Lisa, by other folks that are involved, I just want to let you all know that I'm committed as a supervisor and also as a tribal chairman to continue to support this organization as we move forward with those projects. The growth that's going to happen in Lake County is coming, and we need to be the ones that are kind of steering that vision. And I couldn't be happier to be a part of the collaborative vision that's happening right here with the MAC for Lake County, and I'll continue to support it throughout my tenure as a supervisor and long years after. So thank you very much for everything. I would just like to say one thing too. I know they already stood up, all the executive team members for MAC and the board members, but if you would please do that one more time. If you're not standing, please stand if you would. And if you are standing, just raise your hand so I know who you are. Because what I would like to do is introduce myself not only as the district supervisor, but as the tribal chairman in my own language. And this is just, something I want to do. I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Amenihi, Kalakta, Moke Simon. My name is Moke Simon. I'm the tribal chairman of the Middletown Rancheria, and it's an honor to be here today as your district supervisor and as a tribal leader in this community. So thank you very much. I hope that is good, Amanda, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. And from a football standpoint, go MAC! So here we go.
So much, Moke. Okay, our next speaker that we have is Michelle Scully. Now, she is many things, but she is definitely a tourism, economic, and community development advocate. Also a writer. She's had workshops with us here at MAC. And so I would love to introduce Michelle Scully to the stage, part of the MAC family.
For me, I feel like Goldilocks, like this one is too short, this one is too tall, this one is just right. A few years back, I worked on a project to rebrand Lake County's tourism marketing. The creative team came to Lake County for 5 days, and they said when they left, they've never been so tired in their entire lives. We drugged them all around the county. We had them on the ground, in the water, in the air, and we ended up here at MAC, and we went on the EcoArts sculpture walk. And by the time we finished that walk, we were all in tears, because through art, the trail had told the story of Lake County, of how unique we are, of our creativity, of our little bits of weirdness, and unfortunately, of our hard-earned, incredible resilience because of all the fires that we have experienced over these past years. MAC participated in that branding process and put their fingerprint on how that team left and interpreted Lake County. And in doing so, they left with an indelible sense of who we are. Storytelling is a big thing these days in marketing, but storytelling is nothing new. Storytelling is how people have communicated for eons. Storytelling is how indigenous peoples have shared their tradition and their history, especially as time has impacted them and changed them, and the importance of sharing their story and history becomes even more important. People have told stories to teach our young how to behave Everybody take a breath, okay? Drink your wine, bit on that big salami, take a breath. Storytelling is how we help our young learn how to behave themselves in our communities. And now, stories are being used to encourage people to buy a product. The creative team that was here didn't need to concoct a story about Lake County. We gave them material in abundance. They still say we're their favorite clients, and we do kind of drag that out of them, but I have that on air so they can't deny it. They left with a great love and a respect for Lake County, and they did a beautiful job for us. From that came the Clearly Different campaign. Here, who has seen that? Clearly Different, woohoo! Embracing.
Sorry.
Okay, another deep breath, y'all. From that came our Clearly Different campaign that showed how we're different from our heavy-hitting neighbors. And I have to admit to the fact that I'm doing this podcast now called Gathering for the Lake County Bloom. And periodically, Georgina's doing a podcast too, rooted in poetry. Periodically, I will talk some crap about Napa and their wine and stuff, but I figure there's only like 10 people listening, so I can get away with stuff like that. So now you all have to listen, so there's 11 listeners. From an economic development standpoint, we can talk about the economic impact that art brings to a community in terms of GDP. And interestingly enough, in most studies it shows that art is somewhere around 4%, which actually beats out transportation, which I find kind of amazing. But while none of us, especially these days, doubt the value of transportation in moving goods around and keeping our supply chain open, transportation just doesn't and never will make your heart soar like art does. A vibrant arts community contributes to what's called placemaking, which has a bunch of words for it, but this is how I think of it. Hey, yeah, this place feels good to me. Art in all of its forms, from what we're seeing here, from writing to poetry, touches and nourishes our hearts and souls in a way that a souvenir t-shirt is just never going to do. And to me, that's what I have seen at MAC over all of these years. We've all heard the term holding space for someone, right? That's what I've seen MAC do. In spite of loss and heartache that we have shared together, MAC made itself a place where our hurting community could come and express those feelings, the good, the bad, and the ugly. MAC has done that with relentless passion, with open arms, with tenacity. And I'm honored to be a part, just a tiny little part, of this celebration tonight as MAC transitions to MAC for Lake County and celebrates its 7th year. But I was thinking that this is really MAC for Lake County's first birthday, right? I'm grateful to have had Lisa's friendship over these years and to see her passion and love and tenacity for this place. I give huge kudos to her and all the rest of you who raised your hands, who support this place and hold space for all of us. Have any of you don't seem like a Vegas-y crowd, right? But have any of you been to Vegas? Come on, close your eyes and raise your hand. Okay, have you seen that weird pyramid building? It's the Luxor, and it's just shooting this white light straight up into the sky, and you're like, what the beep is that? Well, I think weird thoughts as I walk. Actually, I think weird thoughts when I'm laying down too. But what came to me today was MAC is like that. MAC has been shooting a beacon out, but it's not a white light. It's a big rainbow light, and it has spread over all of us, and we're grateful for you and wish you all the best in going forward.
Thank you, Michelle. Ooh, here we go. Okay, well, our next speaker, we are very happy to have Georgina Marie, who is our 2-time Lake County Poet Laureate and has been instrumental in MAC's writing workshops as well. So come on, Georgina Marie, let's give her a big warm welcome.
I'm very short. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you all so much. I was thinking about, on the drive over, what I was going to say and kind of rehearsing, but I decided to just not rehearse anything and just speak from the heart. So I became aware of Mac in December of 2017. As a younger writer, I had been writing for 15 years or so, mostly in solitude, as most writers do. And I was ready to start sharing my writing, much of it that was very deep and dark and about grief and trauma. And when I first came to Mac, I came here as part of one of Russell Gonzaga's writing workshops, which some of you might know he was a regular here teaching writing. And I just felt like it was home. This was a place where I could share my writing, who I am, without any judgment and only with a safe space. And over the years, as I've been involved with MAC, I've realized it's not just an arts organization, but it really is a sanctuary for creatives. And whether it's sharing our joy through creative expression or the vessel in which we have the vehicle to speak about our deep traumas and grief. So I was involved as a participant of the writing workshops here through the Resilience and Restore projects, which were spearheaded by Lisa and funded by the California Arts Council. For those who won the books, Resilience is a great book, and I'm going to be reading a poem from it that's in that very book. So the Resilience Project was very much about recovering from the fires, from the Valley Fire, which so many people in this community lost their homes to. And the Restore Project, which came the following year, was about restoring that trauma and coming from it. And so we very much held so many deep workshops in this very classroom back here, which is what my poem is about, that I'll read about soon. And in that, I became a stronger poet. I met friends. I became so close with Lisa, who is like a mother and sister to me somehow. And this has been a home for me. Every time I come back, it's an emotional journey because I know what kind of poems came from that very classroom. So I encourage everyone to become a member of MAC, to come to the classes, the workshops. COVID has put a damper on poetry workshops in person. Not everyone's comfortable yet coming in person. I am teaching virtual workshops and readings, but I hope to come back in person to MAC soon. There's a different vibration when you're listening to poetry here at MAC in person, so I hope to bring that back soon. And I am the Poet Laureate of Lake County. I was appointed in 2020. Thank you. I had originally applied in 2018 and did not get the role. And during the time over the last 2 years before 2020, Lisa gave me the platform to come here and teach poetry and support poets and hold readings and hold events and really give me the platform to do what I'm doing now as Poet Laureate. My term was extended to 2024, so I'll be your Poet Laureate for a few more years. Definitely excited to continue working with MAC and do all that we can do to support such a rich poetry and literary community we have in Lake County. You'd really be surprised how many amazing writers we have here. So thank you very much to MAC. Actually, I met Amanda for the first time when she read at one of the open mics here. And that's how we first met. So I decided to read a poem. I used my flower as a bookmark. I'd like to end with a poem that I wrote here in one of Clive Matson's workshops. Clive Matson was someone who hosted quite a few workshops for us here. And his famous quote is to make the private world public, and that's what we do with poetry. We make our private worlds very public for the world. This poem is in the Resilience book, so if you don't have a copy, I encourage you to buy it. It contains writings from about 22 writers who attended the Resilience workshops in the course of 2018 and 2017. There's also a variety of visual art in this book. So this is a poem I wrote in that very room about that very classroom, called Confetti. She said she thought she'd write a poem about flowers. Then he wrote a poem about the beer cans in his soul. I'm writing now, but all I'm really doing is thinking of how overwhelming it is to be so colorful, so sporadic, so broken to bits, but there's so much glue in the room to help fix it. And there's paint on the walls we can use to cover up the tracks of the cracks so it easily becomes art. Primitive art we can easily generate like more tomorrows. You can choose from the yellow jars on the shelf, the one with the half-broken structure and missing door, or the tubs of red with the lid stained, from being opened and poured out so many times before. We break open like plastic Easter eggs on suicide islands, filled with confetti, making messes out of messes, because to keep a clean slate just isn't as pretty. We need it all, the refined, the deconstructed, the day, the night. If you close the curtains, please open them again. The artists need light. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Georgina. Beautiful. Well, our next speaker is coming up with us now. This is Clovis Lewis. He is a composer, a musician, and the musical director of Sounds of Liberation. So very warm welcome to our Clovis.
There are those among us who are broken. There are those among us who hear things differently than other people do. There are those among us who see things differently. They write different things. They wear different clothes. They see the ghosts. They suffer. And in their suffering and in their brokenness, they bring us art. They're not the best of us, but they represent the best that we can all be. I'm proud to call myself one of those people. I'm an artist. I'm a composer. I hear things. You remember, I'm reminded of that movie, I See Dead People, right? I hear music going backwards and forwards like a multi-track recorder in my mind, and I thought everybody was like that. I remember touching the cello for the first time in my life, and it was like electricity. And one time, I'll tell you a little story. One time I was in Santa Barbara in 1979, and I had been doing a lot of electronic music and the big, huge Moog synthesizers, and I met with some people who came together, and they said, we're going to have a parade. And so we all came together, and I was supposed to write music that was music of the spheres. It was supposed to be spiritual music. This guy named Michael Gonzalez was the ringleader of this great band of artists, and we're all trying to get this vision of Michael's. And so we did. We put this thing together in Santa Barbara at the courthouse there, and there were maybe 200 people there, and they all heard music, and there was this mime caravan, and we did all kinds of things. And now that is the summer solstice celebration in Santa Barbara. That brings about 250,000 people to Santa Barbara every year. So I say that because in this quirky, strange, bizarre way that artists have, we make things and we bring them into the world. And then there are these other strange, quirky people who support us. Okay? That's the job. And I often say that not everybody can be an artist, but many people are artists of life. Many people support those people who listen to things differently and see things differently and so on. So What I wanted to do today is talk about just a little bit of this thing that happens. We've all heard about how this place brings art to the community. And I want to say that it also brings community to the artists. Okay? So as a composer, I'm not a singer-songwriter. I am anonymous, and I really like the anonymity of writing an orchestral piece, giving it to the orchestra, and just sitting back and listening. I am not the guy out there who says, hey, listen to this, right? You know, I like the anonymity. And one of the things that's really important is that it is important to have community. We, as Georgina said, we often work in solitude. To do our art, we kind of like the idea that we invented it ourselves, right? So what is so special about this place is I can remember when I had a conversation with Lisa and I was talking about my Sounds of Liberation idea, and she said, let's do that. I didn't think that was a thing. I didn't think you could do that. And she said, we could get some money for this and we could get it out into the community because people need to know what black folks think when they're doing art. And so thank you, Lisa. And again, thank you all for bringing this community to the artists because we need you and we're all going to make a better world. Thank you.
We just heard from Clovis. And Clovis indeed. When I met him, it was right after George Floyd was murdered. And so our way to try and heal what happened and participate in the healing that was happening across the country through protests was to do an art piece. And with the fires, we created art here in the park, on Rabbit Hill, in the schools as well. And our next project is called Weaving, and it's a big healing project with the people who have always been here, the Pomo people. And we, a team of artists and board members from MAC, worked together. We collaborated with Millie Simon, who we'll hear from in a moment, and Corinne Pierce, and Rose Steele. And we came up with a project to engage all of you in, as well as all the Pomo people in. We call that a cross-cultural project that will begin in November. So let me first allow Corinne Pierce to speak because we save the best for last, and that's Millie. So let's listen to what Corinne has to say. Ami?
Didimachi, Anna Bikabitamde, Keishi Corinne Pierce. I'm a Pomo basket weaver from the Little River Band of Pomo Indians in Redwood Valley, California. I have ancestry from both Lake and Mendocino County Pomo tribes. I have been weaving traditional Pomo baskets for over 35 years, and I have had the honor and privilege of teaching traditional ecological knowledge associated with the harvesting, processing, and weaving of the materials that it takes to create Pomo baskets, which are hands down the best in the world. It is such an honor for me to work with the Middletown Art Center. I'm so excited to work on the weaving project that is upcoming, that actually starts in November. I can't wait to share what I know about the plants and the stories and the people and the techniques for taking care of the land that we inhabit and for giving honor to those ancestors that came before us, no matter what culture we come from. So I want to say hello to everyone. I'm so excited to be working with you. I can't wait to meet you all, and congratulations, MEC, on your 7-year anniversary.
Thank you, Corrine. So the weaving project was called originally Weaving Baskets, Weaving Bridges, and it was, we were awarded a grant by the California Arts Council. Again, with all of our grants, we need matches to make the project as whole as it needs to be, but it began our collaboration with Millie Simon and with the Middletown Rancheria of Pomo Indians. Millie, would you please join me on the stage? I'm so honored to be working with you. It's a treasure.
Well, hello everybody. I'm glad everybody gathered tonight together. I'm Millie Simon, and I'm honored to be here today. And I thank the Heavenly Father, the Creator, and most of all, I thank my ancestors, else I would not be here today from all the stuff that they endured to make it impossible for us to stand here, Moke and I. And I lived in Middletown all my life. I was born on the Rancheria, and I'm still remaining there. And I have two brothers. The three of us are left out of 7. Jose Simon Jr., father of the Lake County Supervisor, and Robert Simon. And basking making is very important to us Indian people. It comes from the heart when we do this. And here's one of them. It's from the Indians. My mom's side, from Cache Creek. She was born in Rumsey. And each basket that was made, each individual that makes a basket, they have a story that goes along with it. That's every individual that works on a basket in their mind, and they design their own basket as they make it. They don't decide what it's going to be a couple days before. It's the day they start. That's what comes in their mind, and that's how they do it. And each basket weaver, they go and harvest their own material out in the creeks, the willows and the redbud, and then they prepare it. It's not an easy job. They coil it and let it hang on the wall until they're prepared to sit down and make the basket. And they only can make it with a good, kind heart, not have a rough day or a down day. You cannot proceed to do a basket with that kind of feeling. And I'm very thankful to be part of the upcoming weaving program, especially because that basking weaving is the heart of the Indian people, and I'm proud to be carrying on and respecting the traditions of my ancestors. And I thank Lisa Kaplan for giving me the opportunity to stand here. I thank the Middletown Art Center and wish them well on a journey that they're just starting. Thank you.
Thank you to all of the speakers. Okay, so now we're in our final part of the program where we're going to announce the new MAC logo art contest winners. So we had a great amount of submissions and it was too hard to choose. So we actually ended up with a tie for first place. So do we have Rose Starchild here in the audience? Oh, there she is. Okay, here's one of our winners. Do we have the logos on the screen here? Rose, would you point out which one's yours, Rose? Woo, thank you, Rose. Well, come on up. We would love to recognize you. And the tie for first place, Summer, she was not able to be with us tonight, but we are so happy Roses. Yeah. Yeah, well, welcome. If you'd like to just say anything about the process.
The process was an evolution, trying to put everything into it that was described.
Yeah.
So I think I sent you some other pictures of the pre-evolution of this design, but it's a really honor to have been chosen a winner. So thank you so much.
Oh, congrats, Rose. Well, okay, we're making our way towards the end of our program piece. Now, we had so many people ask us, will there be dancing at this event? That we said there has to be dancing or they're going to be pissed off. So there's dancing. We have DJ Nick Hay in the house. And the silent auction, I believe it's in its last couple minutes before closing. So if there's something that you saw, go get in there, see if it's yours. And we have some more raffle prizes. Maybe Sabrina, would you like to?
Yeah, it looks like somebody's buying a raffle ticket. So
Nice. Okay. Well, again, thank you everyone for celebrating MAC for Lake County with us. Woohoo!